BBC Hooniverse.
The Well wasn't as good as last week's episode, but was fantastic. Let's review The Well, shall we? Just before we go any deeper, this does contain spoilers to The Well. This does contain spoilers to other things, and I can't say what yet because we're at the early stage of this review. So if you want to know why you still hear the audio describer saying BBC Hooniverse in a Scottish accent, it's incredible. And I highly doubt that they keep that going on the whole way through an episode of Doctor Who Unleashed. Well, it's because I'm just fascinated by that. And I just think that's incredible. And I'm learning audio description. I'm learning the best ways to do it. I'm working on my next audio description for Tom Javu, which is going to be based off another Tom Mason Doctor Who video. So it'll be a video that's incredible. It's going to be amazing. And so I keep that in. And at the end of this series, I'm going to get rid of that. So, The Well, which I always thought was called Well, but it's called The Well. So I had to update the title of the prediction video I made this morning. The time currently is 10:53, and I have just finished watching The Well. Rose Aileen-Ellis is our main guest star. We have the bloke that played the computer guy in Slow Horses. I still don't remember his name. I do apologise. He had a semi-big role in this, but not as big of a role as I think Rose Aileen-Ellis did. So I think the main guest star in this is Rose Aileen-Ellis. She is a deaf actor. And I think that was really captured this episode, I think. Having her in it meant that the episode had to have a new feel to it. It had to act fresh. So it starts off, if you will. So in every episode of Doctor Who, when you have these villains and you have all these things, it happens in the same way. But because there's a communication barrier, the way the crew communicate with her, the way the Doctor and Belinda communicate with her, that's the interesting bit. How they communicate with each other everything in life, including this now, is all about communication. And a lot of people use their hands on BSL in sign language of hands, saying thank you and all that. I don't know much sign language. I want to learn, but I don't know much. And when you really think about it, the Doctor has this ability to do... And you learn more about the Doctor each time you see a new villain, every episode, every story, everything. You learn one new piece of information about our beloved Doctor. Now, in this episode, we learn that the Doctor knows a bit of sign language. We know that Belinda knows none of sign language, and we also know that the human race doesn't exist, or planet Earth never existed in this timeline of million and thousands and trillions of years in the future. What we also know in this is that this planet is familiar. Russell T Davies, months ago, said there will be a sequel. I'm thinking, oh yeah, is that just gonna be like Susan Twist returning for round 2? Is that gonna be it? No, that's not gonna be it. That's not gonna be the sequel. No, that's quite disappointing that that's not gonna be the sequel. When is Susan Twist gonna return? Hello? Susan Twist. And so we went months, and here we are at the sequel. Now, we're 4 minutes into this review, so I think right now we can say this was a sequel to Midnight. Yes, Midnight, the 10th Doctor episode. I need to move this out of the way so I can get my chair properly. It's the 10th Doctor episode where this creature inhabits people. It stars the bloke then playing Merlin. It stars the teacher outnumbered. And Catherine Tate's in it very briefly, but she's not really on it because she's on holiday elsewhere, on another planet. Now, what makes this episode more fascinating is that it's set years and 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 years into the future of the planet Midnight. So, we get a brief... These are the best bits, right? These are the bits that make me really smile. You get brief flashbacks of the Doctor's face, David Tennant. He probably got a couple quid out of that. And it's like, he's doing that face he does when he was scared in that episode. And you realise he knows that monster, and that monster knows him. And so I think that sort of helps to develop the story. My only issue is the ending of this whole episode was awful, right? The bit like the ending just before the credits. Well, yeah, like literally seconds before that was horrendous. So I just think that even though I don't like the episode, the ending was awful. The reason why the ending was so bad is because it'd been leading up to the revelation of the monster no longer being a threat ever again on this planet, right? And it's leading to the point where it's all done, all dusted. Fair enough. Thank you very much. The villain's gone, the evil's dead. We've lost people on the way, but really, everything's all hunky-dory fine. And she's there having a conversation with Mrs. Flood, but it's not got Mrs. Flood. She's got an alternate name, but she's trying to track down the Doctor. So she now lives on an alien planet in the future, no longer lives next door to Belinda, which is really odd, because I thought she lives opposite Ron Ruby Sunday. So, with having Mrs. Flood appear at the end, you think, perfect, fine, that's the Easter egg to what's happening with Mrs. Flood. End credits, boom, bam, bam, moo. Next week, what happens next week? Well, Ruby Sunday returns next week. That is what happens next week. And you then go, that cracking episode, perfect ending. Oh, wait, no. Oh. Does that mean we have to have another sequel to The Well to try and solve that bit? Because you can't leave it like that. You can't leave... If you know, you'll know what I'm on about. Because I don't want to spoil the ending, but you can't leave it like that, right? That is it. So, this episode made me smile, made me chuckle, made me go, whoa. But that ending made me go, what? Really? And I'd sit there for a minute and go, really? Really? That's it? That's the ending? I mean, I'm excited for next week's episode. Don't get me wrong, which I won't be able to watch next week. I'll have to review on Tuesday, which is really gutting. So I won't be around to review the next episode when it goes out, or watch it when it goes out. And I'm like, really? Look, I love this as a sequel to Midnight. I love that we made all those connections. I love that it all got solved. Ruby Sunday's in next week's episode. Belinda's not dead. Roseanne Ellis was in it and was perfect. But why on earth was that ending the way it was? And that made me kind of annoyed. Yeah, not just kind of annoyed. So much annoyed I'm pending after review. And why? Why was that ending the way it was? Here's what I think what will happen. Russell going, right, I really love... This is not an impression of Russell, it's just an impression pretending to be someone called Russell. Right. What I think should happen here is we should have the villain not be destroyed at all. Well, I hope Unleashed clears that up. So let's talk about my favourite moments from the episode. Well, favourite moment of the whole episode? Tricky. I think going to be the revelation that this is a sequel to Midnight. A revelation that the Doctor knows this planet. A revelation that the Doctor knows a bit about this villain. I quite liked any scene that Roseanne Ellis was in, because I think she's really good at what she does, and I think that having a sci-fi aspect and her being the centre of this villain, it sort of works well in its favour, and it sort of helps to... what's the word I'm trying to get at? Helps to improve. And I think it just helps make this more unique, different, out of the ordinary. It makes it so that it's not a carbon copy of Midnight. It's an adjusted variant of the episode we call Midnight. And I think that's overall not entirely a bad thing. And I think it just makes it more unique and makes it like different, if you will. And I think having the episode the way it was and how it is, and I do apologise about the audio changing. I'm trying to have the best angle to make sure it doesn't cover my mouth, because that's the last thing we want. And I think that it makes the whole episode more engaging, more rapid fire, and makes you want to know and want to see more, and want to just learn about this planet. And I hope one day they produce one of those books again where it's a guidebook, if you will, to the planets of Doctor Who, and I hope the Well is heavily featured. I do think that what worked was the fact that the dynamic from everyone just seemed and a little bit all over the shop, and I think that's what makes it work. I think that what makes the episode successful, and I think that is what makes it more enjoyable than other aspects and other areas. The best bit, other than the whole realising it's a sequel to Midnight, is, and I think that might be a tricky thing to discover, but I think it has to be when they realise, if you look behind her and he goes rogue and everyone starts speaking, because I think that shows the power of the villain. And then the next best bit is when they have all the water and she gets like flew to the Doctor. So the Doctor's here, right? This is the Doctor. This is Roseanne Ellis, right? I can't remember her character's name. I know I just heard it, but I couldn't work out how to pronounce it anyway, so I was a little bit like, I'm never going to be able to say that. And so Roseanne Ellis flies to the Doctor that's here. And so the creature is no longer there. They all run off. And then that means, like, well, I think you could sort of predict what's going to happen next. That's the only other issue I've got. You can predict what's happening next because the Doctor stops to try and see where the villain is. And by that point, he's already not quick enough and something's going to happen. And I think that the whole point of them not understanding where Earth is or if Earth's still alive and all that's great. This is the thing that really confuses me. And I hope next week clears it up. In the episode, we get the sequence where Belinda has asked, the Doctor has asked, what about Earth, the human race? None of these people know what that is or who they are or anything, right? Thousands of years in the future makes sense. But the thing that really confuses it for me more than anything else is that in the next time trailer we've got Ruby Sunday's boyfriend on planet Earth. they've been struggling to get to 2025. There's still a good chunk of episodes left. How can they manage to get to 2025 already, even though in this episode we've come to the conclusion that something's gone wrong with Earth as a planet? So it confuses me on the basis of where's Earth, what's happened to Earth. Explain now, please. And I think that's the only thing that confuses me, because hopefully they clear it up in next week's episode, but it just sort of undermines the last few episodes, I think. Slightly. Ever so slightly, not a lot. That might be just from what I get from the next time trailer, and it might not be exactly what I'm saying it is. But I think this sort of undermines the episode. But I do think one of my favourite aspects of this, other than what actually happens in the episode, is the costumes look so futuristic, so amazing, and the little dummy thing you attach to your press and it gives you subtitles. I think someone needs to invent that. That needs to be a real invention, because if we can attach like a clip-on thing to ourselves, and we do, and it comes out with a subtitle thing, so that everyone around the world can understand what we're saying, and it'll obviously translate the words into whatever language, then the communication barrier from a lot of ways would be over. And I think that's what really is incredible, is that someone had that idea in the production office at Bad Wolf Studios, Rusty Davis, all these people have had these ideas, and this should just be an invention it's made itself. And so, overall, I thought The Well was really good. It wasn't as good as last week's episode. It was really good. Obviously, there was bits that didn't really work. I do think Mrs. Fun at the end is always going to throw me off. I go, wow, there she is again. I thought she lived opposite Ruby Sunday. I'm never going to get over that. Ever, ever, ever. But, there we have it. That has been my review of The Well. I think that the episode overall was excellent. I think Rosanna Ellis did a cracking job. I just wish she could return. I think she could do a Belinda, where she appeared in it once, been in it again. I think she could appear in it again. That would be amazing if she could appear in it again, because I think, obviously we have Hebe Harris in the Big Finish audio dramas as a companion that turned unit agent. Two different characters, but in the same realm. I think what could happen is Rosanna Ellis could crop up every so often in audio drama form, somehow. And then, once we've had a few years off from her being in the show, and then she's done other Doctor Who thing, then we've established other things that we can give her in the Whoniverse, then we bring her back as a companion. But this time, it's not going to be similar to that. She's going to be like a cousin or a long-lost relative of her. Or she could be a twin, right? She could be the twin, and she's been trying to look for her forever, and then she's tried to track her down, and she's met the Doctor and gone, you know my sister, could you help me find her? And that could be the arc, and we could have them twins. And that would be a simple way of doing it, because Rosanna Ellis gets to be the companion, plays a new character, but also still linked to her previous character. So it makes sense why both twins are deaf. And I think overall that would be a good idea. So I want Rosanna Ellis back in the show, because I think she did a cracking job in this. And I think this whole episode was more... I mean, this series has become more experimental, having the different animation styles from Mr. Ringading, and now having The Well being in its traditional form of New Who, but having new elements and new ways of presenting what we perceive as traditional New Who. And so, there we have it. Thank you guys for watching. Time. Bye.
Don't forget to subscribe to the official Tom Mason YouTube channel.
If anyone's out there watching this, if anyone can help, please tell me, who is Mrs. Flood? And why is she there everywhere? In each and every episode, why is she there? Please, help us. Let's save the universe, save the Doctor, and save them from Mrs. Flood.